Have you ever noticed how some people keep making the same mistakes, stumbling over the same choices, even though we live in an age overflowing with information? The most curious, and honestly a bit uncomfortable, truth is that the Bible, especially in Proverbs, has revealed for centuries the shortcuts and warnings that could prevent 90% of the problems we face today. And here's the paradox: we have more technology than ever, yet we've never been so blind to the wisdom Solomon recorded. If you feel like something is missing, direction, clarity, purpose, it might be because you're ignoring exactly what God placed right in front of you. Before we go any further, take a moment to subscribe to the channel right now, because this content will unlock areas of your life you didn't even realize needed change. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos, and get ready. What you're about to discover can shift your emotional, spiritual, and even financial perspective. Biblical history is filled with warnings that transform destinies, and today you begin accessing that wisdom on the deepest level.
Today, it is necessary to begin by saying something with clarity and love. Life does not fall apart all at once. It starts to drift when wisdom is despised. The first warning from Proverbs is clear: the rejection of wisdom leads to ruin. When you ignore divine guidance, when you treat the teachings of the Bible as optional, you are not being independent. You are placing yourself in danger. Proverbs shows that the fear of the Lord does not restrict you, it establishes you. Without this foundation, all knowledge becomes fragile, and every decision turns into a minefield. Understand this well. It is not the lack of information that brings a person down, but the conscious rejection of wisdom. You may know much, read much, hear much, but if there is no reverence, everything turns into disguised pride. Proverbs teaches that a heart that refuses to bow will eventually stumble. Therefore, examine your decisions. Are they born from wisdom or from excessive self-confidence? The Bible does not accuse, but it warns, because it knows where this path usually leads. The second warning from Proverbs is: direct listening to counsel prevents unnecessary mistakes. There is a silent danger in believing that you always know the best way. Proverbs states that the fool trusts only in his own understanding, while the wise listens. This is not weakness, it is maturity. The Bible teaches that God often uses people, guidance, and correction to protect us from choices that would cost far too much. When you reject counsel, you are not merely rejecting people. You are rejecting protection. Proverbs makes it clear that no one grows alone. Listening does not mean blind obedience, but humble consideration. Ask yourself, are you listening to those who walk with God, or only to those who confirm what you already want to do? Biblical wisdom always points to paths that avoid unnecessary pain, even when they demand sacrifice now. The third warning from Proverbs calls us to attention with firmness. Wisdom protects against hasty decisions. Speed, when not guided by discernment, becomes an enemy of a balanced life. Proverbs teaches that acting without reflection is like walking without seeing the ground beneath your feet. The Bible does not condemn action, but it warns against impulsiveness that ignores consequences. How many choices seem right in the moment, but later reveal themselves as traps? Proverbs reminds us that God works at the pace of wisdom, not anxiety. Before deciding, before speaking, before acting, the instruction is clear. Stop, reflect, seek understanding. Hurry may give the feeling of control, but only wisdom sustains the outcome. And it is precisely here that the heart begins to be prepared for something even more delicate: the power of words. Today, it is impossible to move forward in wisdom without talking about what comes out of your mouth. The first warning from Proverbs in this theme is firm, careless words wound deeply. The Bible teaches that the tongue has the power of life and death, and Proverbs makes it clear that words are not neutral. What you say can build bridges or raise invisible walls. Many emotional wounds did not come from actions, but from sentences spoken without care. You need to understand that not every truth must be spoken in just any way. Proverbs does not condemn honesty, but it warns against brutality disguised as sincerity. There are words that cut like a sword because they never pass through the filter of wisdom. The Bible teaches that speaking without thinking is not courage. It is a lack of self-control. Before you speak, Ask yourself whether what you are about to say builds, guides, or simply releases emotion. The second warning from Proverbs goes even deeper. The abundance of words leads to sin. Speaking too much almost always opens the door to unnecessary mistakes. Proverbs reveals that where there are many words, prudence is lacking. The Bible does not exalt empty silence, but it values speech that is conscious, measured, and responsible. Not everything that crosses the mind needs to leave through the mouth. There is a common misconception that those who speak a lot communicate better. Proverbs teaches the opposite. The wise person knows when to speak, and, especially, when to remain silent. Too many words can generate gossip, misunderstandings, and conflicts that should never exist. The Bible points out that spiritual maturity is also revealed in the ability to listen more than to speak. Silence, many times, is protection. Observe carefully. How many problems began with conversations that were too long, unnecessary explanations, or excessive justifications? Proverbs warns that too many words weaken the message. When you learn to speak less, you begin to speak better. The Bible teaches that even a fool is considered wise when he keeps silent because self-control begins in the mouth. The third warning from Proverbs enters like a balm. A gentle answer turns away conflict. The way you respond can extinguish a fire or spread it even further. Proverbs shows that it is not only the content of speech that matters, but also the tone, the timing, and the intention. The Bible teaches that gentleness is not weakness. It is strength under control. In moments of tension, a gentle response requires spiritual maturity. Proverbs makes it clear that harsh words stir up anger, while soft words calm the atmosphere. You may be right and still lose peace because of the way you responded. The Bible does not call you to win arguments, but to preserve relationships whenever possible. Responding with gentleness does not mean agreeing with everything, but choosing not to react according to the flesh. Proverbs teaches that whoever controls the tongue wins great invisible battles. The Bible reveals that God takes more pleasure in a peacemaking heart than in a sharp tongue. Many wars could be avoided if the response were wiser than the impulse. Notice how these warnings connect. Careless words wound. Excessive words confuse. Harsh words inflame. Proverbs treats communication as a spiritual tool, not merely a social one. The Bible shows that what you speak shapes environments, influences people, and reveals the condition of your inner life. Therefore, guarding the tongue is not censorship, it is wisdom. Proverbs invites you to align your words with purpose, truth, and love. When communication is guided by biblical wisdom, conflicts decrease and peace finds room to grow. And it is exactly at this point that a new and even deeper challenge arises: who you walk with and allow to speak into your life. Today, biblical wisdom calls you to carefully examine the bonds you build. The seventh warning from Proverbs is clear: bad company corrupts character. The Bible teaches that no one is an island, and Proverbs reveals that constant companionship shapes thoughts, attitudes, and decisions. It is not only what you believe that matters, but who you walk with while you believe. You may think you are able to separate friendship from influence, but Proverbs dismantles that idea. Repeated exposure creates patterns, and patterns form character. The Bible warns that walking with the wise produces wisdom, while walking with fools brings harm and confusion. Wrong relationships do not begin by destroying. They begin by normalizing behaviors that slowly pull you away from truth. The eighth warning from Proverbs touches something deep. The lack of forgiveness destroys relationships. Holding on to offense may feel like justice, but according to the Bible, it is emotional imprisonment. Proverbs shows that those who continually revisit faults create division, while those who choose to forgive build bridges. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it prevents the past from controlling the present. You need to understand that forgiveness is not denying pain. It is choosing not to perpetuate it. Proverbs teaches that clinging to resentment feeds bitterness and weakens relationships. The Bible reveals that wounded hearts that refuse to forgive eventually close themselves off from healthy connections. Forgiveness is an act of wisdom, not forgetfulness. The ninth warning from Proverbs reveals, a silent enemy, envy, corrodes the soul. Constant comparison produces dissatisfaction and steals peace. The Bible teaches that envy is born not from lack, but from comparison. Proverbs shows that those who constantly measure their lives against others never find inner rest. When you give space to envy, you lose the ability to celebrate your own progress. Proverbs warns that this feeling eats away from the inside out, affecting relationships and emotional health. The Bible teaches that contentment is the fruit of wisdom and gratitude, not external circumstances. These three warnings walk hand in hand. Bad company influences, unforgiveness separates, envy sickens. Proverbs treats relationships as sensitive spiritual territory. The Bible makes it clear that the heart is shaped both by what you allow in and by what you choose to hold on to. Relationships must be evaluated in the light of wisdom, not merely affection. Proverbs does not teach isolation, but discernment. The Bible instructs you to love everyone, but to walk closely with those who build you up, strengthen you, and draw you closer to truth. This protects your faith and emotional stability. When these warnings are ignored, relational life becomes heavy and confusing. Proverbs shows that inner peace is not accidental. It is the result of conscious choices. The Bible teaches that healthy relationships are built, not found by chance. And when you begin to align your relationships with wisdom, a new area naturally demands attention. Proverbs points out that the way you relate to others also affects how you work, manage resources, and respond to life's responsibilities. It is exactly there that the next instruction becomes necessary. As you arrive here, biblical wisdom calls you to face practical life without evasions. The 10th warning from Proverbs is, direct laziness leads to scarcity. The Bible does not treat work as punishment, but as an instrument of provision and dignity. Proverbs shows that the lack of diligence not only compromises the present, but also builds a fragile future, full of excuses and avoidable shortages. You need to understand that laziness, according to Proverbs, is not merely doing nothing. It is postponing what needs to be done. The Bible warns that small daily neglects accumulate into great losses over time. The absence of discipline today becomes necessity tomorrow. Consistent work, even when simple, protects you from crises that could have been avoided. The 11th warning from Proverbs reveals something essential. Dishonesty brings consequences. The Bible teaches that God values integrity above any quick gain. Proverbs makes it clear that dishonest scales may seem advantageous for a while, but they corrode the foundation of life. Gains obtained without truth never sustain peace. It is important to realize that integrity does not depend on an audience. Proverbs teaches that character is revealed when no one is watching. The Bible shows that small moral compromises open the door to major falls. Being honest is not only doing what is right when it is easy, but remaining faithful when wrongdoing appears more profitable. The 12th warning from Proverbs exposes a modern danger: the love of money enslaves. Seeking resources is not sin, but placing your heart in riches is a trap. The Bible teaches that money promises security but does not deliver. Proverbs shows that those who live chasing wealth end up tired, anxious, and dissatisfied. When money becomes the center, everything else loses balance. Proverbs warns that riches are unstable and temporary. The Bible reminds us that today they exist, tomorrow they may disappear. Placing identity and trust in them is building on sand. The heart becomes restless because it was made for something greater. These three warnings are powerfully connected. Laziness weakens, dishonesty destroys, love of money enslaves. Proverbs treats work and finances as spiritual areas, not merely material ones. The Bible teaches that how you handle resources reveals whom you trust. Responsibility is not a burden, it is protection. Proverbs shows that discipline generates freedom and that balance brings rest. The Bible does not condemn prosperity, but it instructs on how to sustain it without losing the soul. When work is honest and money is in its proper place, life becomes lighter. Ignoring these warnings leads many to live exhausted, frustrated, and always chasing something that never satisfies. Proverbs teaches that true security does not come from accumulation, but from applied wisdom. The Bible reveals that God honors those who manage well what they have already received. When you begin to align work, money, and responsibility with divine wisdom, something changes within you. Proverbs shows that the heart finds balance when it is not dominated by either laziness or greed. And it is precisely at this point that a new and even deeper challenge emerges: how you deal with yourself, with your pride, and with your emotions. As you enter this final set of warnings, biblical wisdom leads you inward. The 13th warning from Proverbs is solemn pride comes before the fall. The Bible teaches that arrogance blinds, distorts perception, and pushes people away. Proverbs shows that pride creates a false sense of security, causing a person to stop listening, stop learning, and stop correcting themselves. When pride takes root, the fall is not usually immediate, but it is inevitable. Proverbs warns that self-sufficiency weakens spiritual vigilance. The Bible reveals that those who believe they need no help become vulnerable. A proud heart rejects correction, and without correction, there is no true growth. The 14th warning from Proverbs points to an internal danger. The lack of self-control leads to chaos. The Bible compares a person without self-control to a city without walls, completely exposed. Proverbs teaches that unchecked emotions create environments of instability, conflict, and regret. Where there is no control, there is vulnerability. You need to understand that self-control is not repression, it is governance. Proverbs does not say emotions are wrong, but it warns that they need boundaries. The Bible teaches that those who do not control their impulses end up being controlled by them. Mastering oneself is one of the greatest expressions of wisdom. The 15th warning from Proverbs closes this cycle with seriousness. Right choices determine destiny. The Bible teaches that not everything that seems right is truly good. Proverbs reveals that paths that appear good can lead to destruction when they are not aligned with truth. Appearances deceive, but consequences always reveal the real path. Relying solely on personal perception is a constant risk. Proverbs warns that the human heart can be deceived. The Bible instructs you to submit your decisions to divine wisdom before acting. Choices made without this filter may feel comfortable now, but they will demand a high price later. These three warnings are deeply intertwined. Pride distorts, lack of self-control destroys, wrong choices compromise the future. Proverbs treats character as the foundation of life. The Bible shows that it is not what happens outside that defines you, but what governs within. Conduct is not appearance, it is consistency. Proverbs teaches that character is revealed in unseen decisions, far from the eyes of others. The Bible calls you to live with integrity when no one is watching. It is in this hidden place that destiny begins to be shaped. Ignoring these warnings leads many to repeat cycles of error without understanding the cause. Proverbs shows that wisdom breaks destructive patterns. The Bible reveals that transformation begins when the heart surrenders to truth, even when that truth confronts. When pride, emotions, and choices are aligned with wisdom, life gains direction. Proverbs teaches that self-control preserves, humility protects, and truth guides. And now, after walking through all these warnings, the call becomes personal, deep, and unavoidable.
Another teaching appears in Proverbs chapter 10, verse 4, where it is written, "A lazy hand makes for poverty, but the diligent hand brings wealth." Proverbs reveals that results are direct fruits of effort and consistency. Solomon shows that laziness not only delays progress, but creates cycles of stagnation. The Bible presents diligence as a tool for growth and honor, and this discipline transforms small actions into great achievements. In Proverbs chapter 12, verse 24, Solomon states that, "The hand of the diligent will rule." This principle shows that dedication opens doors, while negligence closes opportunities. Proverbs emphasizes that leadership is built through consistent work. The Bible reinforces that God values commitment and excellence, and those who develop this habit become trustworthy for greater responsibilities. Proverbs also exposes the consequences of procrastination. In Proverbs chapter 20, verse 4, we read, "The sluggard will not plow because of winter, therefore he shall beg during harvest and have nothing." Solomon points out that seemingly logical excuses often hide a lack of initiative. Biblical history shows that those who wait for perfect conditions end up doing nothing. And this warning teaches the importance of acting even when the scenario is not ideal. Another important point appears in Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. Here, Solomon reveals that planning is an essential part of wisdom. Proverbs shows that effort without direction leads to weariness, but well-directed effort leads to progress. The Bible reinforces that God values organization and good stewardship, and this transforms goals into consistent results. In Proverbs chapter 24, verses 30 and 31, we find a powerful image, an abandoned field overgrown with thorns. Solomon uses this scene to illustrate what happens when laziness dominates a life. Biblical history reveals that neglect opens the door to loss, disorder, and wasted opportunities. Proverbs teaches that lack of diligence weakens even what once seemed promising, and this warning encourages vigilance and perseverance. Diligence, according to Proverbs, is also a practical expression of honoring God. In Proverbs chapter 16, verse 3, it says, "Commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established." Solomon points out that devoted work and spirituality are not rivals, but allies. The Bible shows that God blesses hands that work with purpose and integrity, and this partnership between faith and effort produces lasting fruit. The theme of discipline appears again in Proverbs chapter 14, verse 23. "In all labor there is profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty." Proverbs distinguishes intention from action. Talking about goals does not accomplish them.